The head coach
You gonna do the thing?
is back in Studio B.
Since the 90s. Yeah. Well, welcome. This is always an exciting day, and this is your third one. State of the program in the books. What do you think so far of meeting?
I thought it went well. I mean, I want to have everyone meet our new players and get to know some of the guys that are going to be new to the roster, and also meet the new coaches. So kind of get a feeling. I think it's that right now there's a lot of uncertainty, not knowing those guys very well, and, but they're a demanding group, and they're getting great response from the players.
We're not messing around. You go from one microphone to the next.
Yeah, I'm out of breath, and
we gave you no chance to rest, get a drink.
Believe it or not, there are no stairs involved, and so I don't know why I'm breathing so hard, but
You've been working on strength as opposed to cardio, I think, right?
That's
in the off season.
That's it. Yeah. This body's not built for endurance and miles. So
you're a goal line fullback.
That's it. That's all I can do.
I'm just shades of 2000 Virginia.
Yeah, and my explosive movements are limited to just sneezing now. So
wow.
Yeah.
It's quite the repertoire.
I'm trying not to get hurt. I don't want to have surgeries like Preston Hadley said.
He's rolling around in a boot today. Yeah.
I know, and E gave him a little shot, saying that he broke his foot walking down the stairs, and so, yeah, that's what happens when you get older. Welcome to being
not even old.
Welcome to real adulthood. Right?
No, but it's a good reminder because these young guys, they think they can play basketball. Harvey Unga and all these guys.
Harvey's got game though.
Yeah, but I mean, Father Time will sneak up and they'll get hurt. And then I'm going to be sitting there like the old guy, seeming wise. I see. That's why I don't do the explosive movements.
Yes. Kalani Sitake, the head football coach at BYU, with us on BYU Sports Nation. He's now caught his breath. Let's get back to defining the state of the program. I'm always intrigued by this. If you could define the state of the BYU football program in a sentence or so, what would it be right now?
We have the best fan base, and right now we're going through some adversity, and we'll find out what we're made of. My wife showed me this quote, and I think it's really fitting. It's just there's a lot of people that are underestimating us right now, and it's nice to know that they're not our fans, but from the outside they are, and I think it's okay to be in this position. I think it's okay to have a chip on your shoulder and an axe to grind, all that stuff. If you find it a lot easier to motivate your players to prove something. And so we're really excited to prove ourselves, and and we understand people will underestimate us, and it'll be fun.
This day is a day where I think the first couple of years of BYU Football Media Day, they wanted like big announcements, right? Today, it wasn't so much big announcements. In the first says, you know what, we got to be better, we got to win. Is that kind of the message?
Yeah, just let's get down to business and get the work done. And I think since we started the off season, it's been all just hard work, and I think that's the only way you really can respond. And not that we didn't work hard in the past 2 years. I think we're just working differently. I don't think you can keep doing the same things over and over again and expect it to get better. And so we've changed up a lot of things and focused our guys differently, and done a lot of research and just kind of look at different ways that we can improve. And what worked in the 90s and the 2000s don't work necessarily right now. Dealing with different kids and different, our era didn't have iPads and all these gizmos that you can talk about, but that you have to work that part, the technology part, into what we do as a program, and part of what the culture is in society. So we have to mingle that with what we do here as a school and our culture as a program, and as a football program, as well as what we try to get done with being at BYU.
You mentioned change. Obviously, we know the offensive staff changed. So what other changes are you referring to?
Well, just so we've done a lot of focus on nutrition. We're changing up our practice schedules. We played a lot more physically in camp, but we weren't really we were aggressive and intense, but it wasn't over physical. I think there's a focus on being such a physical camp because we made the quarterbacks live, right? But we have to get some work done, and it's going to be a little uncomfortable in so many ways. But I think it's okay. When you're uncomfortable, you grow, and that's what we're trying to get done here. And we've asked a lot of our players. We've asked them to sacrifice quite a bit, not just time, but a lot of things that they're doing as far as academics and everything that's involved with their life. And we think that it all comes together. It all works. You work at being a better son, and a better brother, and then it'll have a reflection on you as a football player. So overall, just having our guys really connected with their coaches, and our coaches being really demanding and having high expectations, and then making sure they get there.
2018 BYU Football Media Day on BYU Sports Nation. We're with the BYU Football head coach, Kalani Sitake. What are the goals and standards for BYU Football in this stage of independence?
Well, so I made the statement that, when I first got the job and talked to Tom made a statement at the end of that bowl game. He said that we had plans, and the plans were to be in a position where we're Power 5 type, right? And I looked at the schedule, and the schedule scared some people about this job, but not me. It got me excited, right? And the future schedules and the opponents that Tom were talking about bringing on, and I thought that's awesome, right? And I've been part of that. When I was at Utah, we were in the Mountain West and moved into the Pac-12, but we had a couple years to kind of know that was happening, and money was a big part of that budget and help make things so much easier. With BYU, it's not going to be that way, but it can be based on something that I think is a lot stronger, which is our fan base. Our fan base is more Power 5 than other Power 5 schools, and it is something that's very special. And I speak of that, and with all of us, we're all fans. We grew up fans before we even were part of Sports Nation and everything else, and that's something that's a driving force. It's part of our life, right? And so that's something we can build off of that with a schedule that matches it, and then we keep trending towards a Power 5 type of expectation. And it's going to be difficult, and it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable in some parts, and we have to fix a few things along the way. But as long as our plans are being executed, and for what Tom and I have talked about when we first talked about the job a couple of years ago, we're trending that way. Now we just need to win games. That's the key, and I feel like as long as we're trending the right direction and win games, I think it will be okay.
And that is certainly the bottom line, right? Regardless of how tough or easy the schedule is. And I've talked about how I feel like playing too many Power 5s may be a detriment to the program, because you want to win 10 games, get ranked without a conference and whatnot. So
I'm the opposite. I think
and I know you feel differently. If BYU challenges itself too much and doesn't kind of ever finish ranked, could that be more of a detriment than a strength in that way?
Well, it depends.
You're hoping to do it, of course.
But I will never know where we're at as a program if we don't challenge ourselves. And then you get a false sense of security if you just win, and then the expectations are to always win, and you're not really looking at the competition, right? I mean, I could beat Will Ferrell in basketball. I know that, right? But if LeBron James wants to play, I'll learn a lot about my game and what I need to fix and how good I am. And so the program, in order for it to get to that level, we really have to be at that position, and we have to play these teams. And it's a good reminder of our players too, that these are the type of programs that we want to play against every week. And so whether you're part of a conference or not, but if you want to trend that way, then let's go. I just don't think that we wanted to stay in the same position that we had. I think when we talked to Tom, we wanted to get in a position where we can keep growing and getting better and work to a place where we want to be and be happy as fans. Right now, we're going through a little rut. We can get through this though because we have the best fan base, right? And I've been, like I said, I've been really impressed with them and how they've dealt with everything that's going on with our team right now.
Is there a point in the schedule when it's put together? And I know it's tough to balance it out, and Tom and you address this in the State of the Program. Is there a point, though, where maybe it's too tough? Because maybe going to a bowl game is good, but in a couple seasons, that's hopefully not the standard, right? Just go to a bowl game. You want to get as many wins as you can in a season.
Well, so there's two ways to think about it. And I'm not going to be down on anyone and their thoughts. I think that's how you feel. For me as a competitor, I want to know who the best is. I want to get to that level. And so you could promote yourself. If you're looking at like a prize fighter, you could promote yourself and build your schedule, your fights, so that you can always be undefeated. But you'll never really know, and there'll always be questions on that. The hard part is that you have to just be humble and accept some difficult times like we just had. Now, I would have loved to learn the lessons that we had the last 2 years, especially last year, if we went undefeated 2 years in a row. But I don't know if we would, right, as a program. But we'll work that way. And I'm not saying like we expect to play and compete and do well in every game, right? And I have my expectations on what the season is going to be, and I think maybe it's not realistic to others, but it is to me.
And you should aim high. You're the head coach.
Yeah, and so to me and to our players, so no one's going to really tell us on what we're going to accomplish this year until we go out and do it. And but we know we're going to face some tough teams, and we're going to approach every team like they're Alabama. We have to. But it just happens to be that a lot of them aren't far off from that, which is okay too.
I thought Tom Holmoe put a nice bow on it saying, look, we're BYU, we're growing, we need to win the games we're supposed to win, and then we need to go and upset a few of the teams that we're not expected to beat. And I thought that was a really clear outlook on what you're trying to do. Now, before you go, Coach, I want to tackle some of the unknowns going into the summer. So let's examine a few of those areas with you, starting with the quarterbacks, which you may know is a hot topic at BYU year in and year out. How would you describe your quarterback situation right now?
Competitive and making everyone better. So I'm seeing guys improve their bodies and working a lot harder than they have been, and because the spot is open. And right now everybody, I mean, they work really well together and they're great friends, but they want to be the starter, which is a good feeling for us. And it's kind of, because we've done that with the quarterback position, it's gone to every position on the team. Our depth chart has tons of oars on it, which is, it's okay too. Let them compete and we'll play the best.
You got to row with oars, right? So BYU's going to row. Okay, we looked in the media guide roster. We did not see Ula Tolutau or Joe Tukuafu. What's the latest on those two guys?
Well, I'm not going to speak on anyone individually, but I'll just say that attrition happens in the game of football, but for various reasons, you know, and I want to keep it personal for all the individuals involved that are no longer on the roster. There's always, so it's kind of open, and it varies so much that we're anticipating a lot of those guys being back, but that depends on a lot of things that has happened in the next little bit. Now, I won't speak on them specifically, but I'll just say I love all those guys, you know, and we've been through this road before, and so we'll just try to keep working with it. We have great examples of guys not being on a roster and being back, and guys that have changed some things, and we've seen guys that have moved on and had success at other places. So probably have to talk to those individuals to get the story, but other than for me as a head coach, that's part of, we have a group of guys that aren't on the team anymore, and that's okay.
How are the redshirt and transfer rules going to impact BYU football in year number one?
Yeah, we could have. So an example, I just think of a couple guys like Keenan Ellis could have played for us last year in those last 4 games and still be a freshman this year. I think when you get to the point where you're like, hey, we're redshirting you, it's kind of, you never want to go back on it. And even if you have 6 games left on the schedule, guys don't want to come off the redshirt just for that, because then they're like, well, I only played really 3.5 years of football. And so this gives them 4 years and a quarter, right? So 4 years and a third. Mm-hmm. And so that they benefit. They get to play more games, so that's good for us. And what we're trying to accomplish as a team, it provides depth. And so whenever you have injuries like we suffered last year, you'll be able to use guys like Zach Katoa and Keenan Ellis and others that weren't ready in August, but with the development and with the way they improved themselves from August to October, a lot could change. And it would have been good for us to use them. So I'm looking forward to our freshmen that are coming in, or return missionaries, and saying, hey, your goal, even if you're way off. I mean, we had a young man come back and lost 80 pounds on his mission. And so now he has a few months to get ready, and, hey, you can play in the last 4 games.
80 pounds?
Yeah, I need to go on that mission.
Is this who I'm thinking or somebody else?
This is, well, it was the Barrington. So, yeah, Clark Barrington.
Clark Barrington lost 80 pounds on his mission?
I think he's
still an offensive lineman?
Oh, he's going to be an offensive lineman. The mentality to eat still there. Yeah. Just didn't have the
It's like, I look like a tight end, but I'm an offensive lineman.
Yeah, but I mean, they'll be fine, but just it'll take some time. And I mean, I think I can prove that you can gain 80 pounds easily in months. So,
Coach, always a pleasure to have you in Studio B. Thanks for answering the tough questions and being with us.
You guys are awesome. Love you guys.
Good luck on the 28 other interviews you have the rest of the day.
Oh, yeah, I can't wait.